Hello? Yeah. So just line up 3 people and do your questions, and then they're going to answer the 3 questions at the same time.
So I had a question for Jürgen and for Courtney. You mentioned a very fascinating look into the ins and outs of Finnish politics. For my part in Canadian politics, I've as I say, infiltrated the Liberal Party, the ruling party, to influence and to see how to navigate through the ins and outs of our own system. It's fascinating and it works. I was wondering if you had any experience in that role of direct contact with people in power, rather than just looking at what they do from the outside. So that was number 1. Your point, Courtney, you mentioned a lot about the values of people who oppose basic income. It's true. It's difficult. It's a difficult issue to address. I'm not as discouraged as you are about the possibility of addressing our opponents' values. I think they do have values. Those values are not negative. When you mention fairness, they have a view of fairness, but it's not an unreasonable one. So I think it is accessible, and you can bypass their prejudices against lazy people, things like that. You don't go there for sure. You're confronting them. But there are other ways of addressing their deep-seated convictions and using that to good effect for us.
Did you ask a question? Do you have a question?
Yeah, he really did. Reaction, and I asked.
No, okay. No, at the end. We'll do 3.
Apparently, we take questions and then.
I'd like to thank all the speakers for really stimulating papers this morning. I just wanted to make a comment for Courtney. One of the things that you said struck me quite a lot. I think we all know that one of the most popular social programs in Canada is Medicare. And one of the reasons Medicare, health insurance, has such a support in Canada is because we all get sick and we all get old. And when I think about the distribution of who loses and who wins and focus on that middle group that we need support from, we spent a lot of time in this movement collecting stories about people with lived experience of poverty and what a difference a basic income would make in their lives. And one of the things that I found very resonant is focusing on people who have not lived in poverty, but to make clear to people, to collect the kinds of stories of people who suddenly seen their income fall, who've had health issues or had economic issues that put them in a position where basic income would really make a difference. So I think it's a challenge, it's a comment more than anything, it's a challenge to everybody to recognize that we need to broaden the range of stories we're collecting and address that central group of people that you identified as being supportive.
Very brief, please.
Okay, mine's not a question, it's just a quick comment. So I'm currently doing my master's degree in digital currency, and as you had mentioned with mostly a Kumbaya crowd, you can almost feel people's eyes rolling back in the back of their heads as they hear about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency and all this stuff. I cannot underline how important this technology is. A really good example right now is there's a man called Andreas Antonopoulos, and he's a very famous, sorry, I feel the pressure of the time. But there's a man called Andreas Antonopoulos, and he's a very big advocate for cryptocurrencies and such. And one thing he said in one of his talks was, because anybody can create their currencies, and lots of people are doing it without the permission of governments. For example, Bitcoin right now is worth about $10,000, and no government controls it. Children can actually make their own currencies. And he was saying it's going to be amazing. He wishes he could be there on that day when a child goes to a bank after 5 or 6 years of making their own currencies that they use with their families, their friends, in their classrooms, and then going to a bank and having the bank try to explain to them the concept of 3 business days. And then one thing that we're doing in our program right now for one of our projects, is we're trying to develop a decentralized credit union, just as a prototype. One of the things that one of the guys said in our project was we're going to try and avoid solving problems that will quickly become irrelevant, or I guess systems that are going to become irrelevant, or the problems caused by them. So this is just important stuff. I know no one really cares about this because it's very kind of Star Trek-y, but if anyone has any questions, I have a lot of resources on this stuff. I've been in this field for about 4 years now, and it's fascinating, and it's very, very, very important. I can't underline that enough. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to take executive privilege here, or do my diva routine, as other people describe it. Since most of those, I think, were comments more than questions, and because I've been reminded that we do have a technological imperative in this room in particular to stay on time, I'm going to ask your indulgence to break for coffee break now, and if you want to talk to Jürgen, Courtney, or Eric, you can do that. And for people who are coming back to the workshop in this room at 10:30, there's a hookup with some international people that sort of has to run on time. So even in the coffee lineup, if you can maybe give priority to people who are coming back here so that, you know, we can keep things running. Thank you very much.
Yes.